All right, it is 6 p.m. on this May 7th, 2025. I will call this Town Council work session to order. Welcome those in attendance in the chambers and those who are tuned in online. We appreciate you. And I'd like to give a special shout out to start to Ms. McKay, as it is apparently Professional Municipal Clerks Week. And so I'd like to say thank you to Ms. McKay for all the work she does, making sure the trains are on time and that we get to where we're supposed to be. And I'm not sure I would attend nearly as many things if I was not reminded I was supposed to be there. So I'm appreciative of those efforts, as well as keeping us on track here. Thank you. Ms. McKay, can we have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Amos?
Here.
Mr. Reed?
Here.
Mr. Dwyer?
Here.
Mr. Parrott?
Here.
Mr. Yolen?
Here.
Mr. Hunter?
Here.
Mr. Hardy?
Here.
Thank you. Next up, first item is adoption of the agenda. Do I hear a motion to adopt the agenda as presented?
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. All in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it. Next up is declaration of personal interest concerning anything on the agenda. Do we have any declarations of personal interest at this time? Not hearing any. We will move into Ms. Julie Moore, the Finance Director, and the Finance Report.
Good evening. You have the March charts and reports in front of you. This is the 9th month of our fiscal year 25 budget. When you look at revenue to budget, right now our general fund revenue appears to be behind compared to what we budgeted for the first 9 months of the year. However, the main reason for this is that some revenue we include in the budget are not actual money coming in, they're planned savings and transfers that we use to cover future costs. And we've talked about this the last couple of months. An example is the set-aside money that we put aside every month to make our bond payment. Well, this is in our budget, but it's not true revenue. It's money we've already earned in the past. So while the numbers might look like we're behind in revenue, it's mostly because of how these planned uses of savings are shown in the budget. They are not actual shortfalls from collection or taxes. In fact, our taxes and license category is above the projected 9-month budget. When you look at revenue compared to prior year, there's two funds that are below prior year's revenue. That's the general fund and the airport. The general fund is primarily below because last year we recognized the ABM lease proceeds, and this year we didn't have such a big lease proceeds. And then in the airport fund, it's because last year we had ongoing major projects that we didn't have this year. The expense to budget, overall, our total expenses are currently below the 9-month mark of our budget. There's one fund, however, that is above the budgeted 9-month period, and that's the water fund, and that's because we have ABM expenses that we've paid this year that are not in the budget, because at year end, that'll get moved out of expenses and put into like capital assets, so we didn't budget for that. So once that gets moved at year end, then we'll be below the budget for that. When we look at expenses versus prior year, the total expenses are slightly above prior year, and the differences are the ones that we've discussed in prior months. So do you have any questions?
Any questions for Ms. Moore at this time? Not hearing any.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the Farmville Regional Airport lease. Is this you, Mr. Davis?
It is. You have in your packet the current lease that we've been using, I don't know how long, maybe 15, 20 years. I'm not positive how long this has been in play. And so we looked at other general aviation airports that are owned by municipalities, and we want to update our lease. At the same time, I don't think the lease figures have been changed in some time either, as far as rental and maintenance fees. So the current lease, and this isn't the larger ones, that, you know, the Kyanite one, so exclude the Kyanite and the the one that the town has. Those are larger hangars, but the general hangars that are out there, they're currently $360 a year for the lease and $120 a year in maintenance fee. What the new contract or lease says is $450 for a lease of the ground and $250 in maintenance fee. That will help us begin hopefully to incur more revenue because down the road we will need to change, well, there's a need now to change our gas pumps from below ground to above ground. And that cost estimate is over $1 million at this point. And so there, as of right now, federal and state funding, there may be some state funding, but there's no federal funding for that. And so that would be mostly incurred by the airport or the town. So one, it updates the lease in terms better written, I believe. We looked at several. We chose Danville to mimic or copy the most. It has been reviewed by Mr. Elder. We will need a public hearing because it is a lease and we're changing that and the terms with the occupants. So we'll have to have a public hearing, which won't make next week, obviously. It'll be the June meeting for a public hearing. The key parts of this lease, and I've heard from some people that are tenants, the prior lease was only a year to year. If you notice in this lease, it's it's a 20-year period, but it's renewable every 5 years. And so they feel like if they have a longer term, they would do more to their actual individual hangars and invest in them than just a year-to-year lease. So we're hoping that we will see some people take better care of the hangars out there, or also enforce some of those that aren't using the hangars for the right purposes as well. And I'm open to any questions.
Do you have any idea just roughly how many hangars we're talking about?
I don't off the top of my head, no.
Are all the,
And we don't own the actual hangar, we own the land.
Any other questions at this time? Next is the Dominion Energy Site Plan update. Is that you as well, Mr. Davis, or is that Ms. Ashley Austin?
Ms. Austin's coming.
Good evening. The Farmville Planning Commission met on Wednesday, April 16th, 2025, and voted 6-0 to approve the site plan for the Dominion Energy expansion on East 3rd Street and Millwood Road. The site plan was found to be adequate with respect to the items listed in Section 2913E4E2 of the Farmville Town Ordinance. Did you have any specific questions about the site plan?
This is just informational purposes. Site plans don't come before the council. The Planning Commission approves site plans. But it's for informational purposes for you all to know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Last item on the agenda is the discussion future joint meetings with the Planning Commission. You speaking to this, Mr. Davis?
Yes. We talked about this at the retreat about our comprehensive plan is 5 years old, so it's to be reviewed every 5 years. As I said then, you could say we've reviewed it within the 5 years because we've made some changes, but holistically, we have not necessarily. And it was the majority of council from that retreat stating that they would like to look at the comprehensive plan in whole. So it's more of figuring out how many joint meetings you want with the Planning Commission. Do you want to do it the whole way through together in joint meetings. We're just looking for guidance about how to bring this. We talked at the retreat about going chapter by chapter. Some can be maybe 2 at a time because it's not as much involved. There's a few chapters that are about population and things like that that are nothing that we can really change other than update what we have information from the census and those types of things for you all to review. But just trying to get an idea of do you want us to come have the conversation with you, then go to the planning commission and come back, or do you want to do more joint sessions so that there's more conversation between the two bodies and conversations that you can hear one another, obviously, in your thoughts, instead of having multiple meetings and us relaying, or you seeing the meeting on the website or whatever, and actually having the bodies communicate directly. So we're looking for that guidance. We plan to start that either June or July and move that forward throughout the year. So
Last time, if I remember correctly, we had at least 2 joint meetings here in the chambers. Do you recall, Mr. Davis?
we did. It was at that time their job to come up with and work with the consultants, and then bring you a comprehensive plan. But I've heard that from the retreat, what I heard was more involvement through the process this time. And so that's why I wonder if you would like to have them more joint meetings in doing that, so that that conversation can be ongoing throughout the updates between the two bodies. You'll be able to hear one another's and have those conversations in the same meeting.
I like just personally, I think it'd be nice to have a meeting with us, the council, first, kind of get our ducks in a row and talk about things that we're all interested in seeing adopted. Perhaps the Planning Commission could have a meeting like that amongst themselves as well, and then do the joint so that we can collaborate a bit at that point.
So we're going to take them by chapter. Do you want to do it? I guess that's my question as a whole. What do you all want to do? We can go to you all for each chapter and then go to them, or go to them and then go to you all.
That sounds inefficient, the second option. I mean, to me, it'd be much more efficient if we are all in agreement that we want to be part of the process, that we do joint meetings.
I'm in agreement with Mr. Dwyer on that. I like the idea where if we're all together, I could say something, Mr. Reed could say something, and then somebody on Planning Commission could say something, and all of a sudden you've got this new great idea that we wouldn't have thought of if we weren't together, all communicating with each other, and then everybody knows what everybody's ideas and thoughts are.
I think that's even better than my suggestion.
I'll let you all claim it.
So, joint meetings probably have to happen in the EOC.
Well, I mean, I think we can make it work in here. We would just, the Planning Commission may have their backs to the people. I mean, but I think for the ability for people to actually see what's transpiring, it may be good for the public to hear both bodies and realize what is being done throughout the process.
So the Planning Commission is it seems to me they almost take the lead in this. Is that accurate? Since they typically goes through the Planning
They're
Commission.
typically supposed to review, make recommendations to the council, yes. That's why.
I would envision them up here and we would be somewhere else, but whatever.
That not typical
That's
if
not-
you're the governing body, yeah.
Okay. Just trying to respect them too.
Sure.
Okay.
I can give up my seat, and we've got a few, I mean, we can make it work. We'll make it work.
So, general consensus, joint meetings, roll forward. All right. General consensus.
And when they don't have, if we don't have a lot for a work session, we may see if they can meet for a work session meeting date. If they don't have a lot of business, it may be the third Wednesday of the month, and so it might be on their meeting date. Or we might have to have if it's really busy for everybody on all three of those, we might have to have an extra meeting that month or skip it and go to the next month. But we'll get the feel for everybody of what dates work.
Sounds good. Next up on the agenda is the town manager's report. Mr. Davis.
Only thing I have for this evening is I need to make sure it's okay with council. We're still in the we're at the end with ABM project as far as all of the efficiency study work on different things. The last little bit is I think we're down to less than 90 water meters to be installed, and then that should wrap up out of like 3,000 and some, I think. All the other projects have been done except for the solar. We're still working through that at the water and wastewater treatment plant. And that's, remind you, that's a power purchase agreement. So that's a separate entity from actual ABM. It's
Are the charging stations back up and running yet?
they should be. Next week you have a training with the actual payment system, and then we should be able to roll it out right after that next week, after the first part of next week.
Sorry to interrupt.
So one of the things was to begin a leak detection system. Not, remember, it wasn't going to be townwide. It was going to be start at a certain point and begin that process. If you remember, it was done by hearing the actual device listening to the water in the pipes. So sonic wise. Probably don't have the right wording, but anyway. What we didn't understand until we got into almost going to implement this is that there's two methods for that leak detection. One is you hook it up to the leak detection system to a fire hydrant. And the aesthetics is pretty ugly, but you hook it up to a side of a fire hydrant, but the hydrant has to be charged, which means there has to be water in the hydrant instead of below the hydrant. That works great except in the winter, because we can't have a charged fire hydrant in the winter because it'll freeze and bust, which is when we have most of our water leaks. The other option is there's some localities, well, there's actually another option, but we only have 2 bridges. If it's an open area, you can usually attach it to a pipe that might be under a bridge, right? If you've got a water line running. We only have 2 bridges in town. That doesn't really help us either. The third option is there are localities that periodically have vaults in the ground that you can access certain of your larger pipes that will encase a portion of your pipe. And of course, they could go in the vault and you would have a reading from the top of the vault head. We don't have any vaults in town around our water pipes. So at this point in time, until we're ready to invest in something like that down the road, it really is not feasible for us to move forward with the leak detection process at this time. So it was $40,000, and our goal is to work with them to return that equipment, and that'll be 40,000 that we won't spend in this project. We can revisit it at a later time with some other things if we choose to do that in the future.
Is that all you got? Any questions?
Just stew on it and just let me know next week if.
Can the leak detection, I kind of see what you're talking about and it's nuts, but can the leak detection be put at meters for, you know, the larger users, like, and you know, to help Longwood in the sense that, oh my gosh, they got a leak, you know, can it be put at a meter? Like, do they have one big meter for Longwood or is it a whole bunch of them? It's a bunch. Okay. I wasn't sure exactly how that worked. And I'm just using that because that's a big water user or the prison and stuff like that out there. And I just wasn't sure whether we could put the leak detectors at the meter because that would be one spot that it's a lot of water moving through.
Yeah, I mean, if they sign up, once we get this project complete and putting in the meters, if they log into the app, which will put out once they're all installed and all working properly, then you, a homeowner or Longwood or whomever, can look at every single meter that you have, and you'll, was it 4 times a day that it actually uploads, that you would be able to tell yourself almost every day if you see a large increase in usage that you probably got a leak somewhere on your line. But this detection system is more about larger lines distributing the water.
Would the commercial side of it have that option as well as residential as far as
Any of the water meters.
any, okay, good. That's good.
Any additional questions at this time? So you just need an okay next week to walk away from that portion
Yeah,
of the,
I mean, if you know tonight, that's fine. But I don't always like to ask the day of.
you can think about it.
If we don't have any other option, I mean, well, there's no need of thinking about it.
Well, somebody wants to raise a motion that do away with the leak detection from ABM.
I'll put
That
that in the
leaves-
form of a motion, and to explore at a later date.
Second.
Motion and second. Any additional discussion at this time? Mr. Kay, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Reed,
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer,
Yes.
Mr. Parrott,
Yes.
Mr. Yolen, Mr. Hunter,
Yes.
Mr. Hardy,
Yes.
Mrs. Amos.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Now we'll go to comments. Mr. Hardy,
I'm good.
Mr. Hunter,
Till next week.
Mr. Yolen.
Nice to see the group in here tonight. Thank you for participating. Good job, everyone.
Mr. Parrott,
I'm good.
Mr. Dwyer,
Not a thing.
Mr. Reed,
I'm good.
Ms. Amos.
Good.
I'll just give one more shout out to our town manager and more importantly, maybe our finance department for once again, third consecutive year that they have earned the Excellence in Financial Reporting from the Government Finance Officers Association. So for the first time ever, that happened in 2022 for the town of Farmville, and now we're in our third consecutive year of receiving that award. So well done to them for continuing that train of excellence. We appreciate it. And with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Ayes have it. Thank you.